welcome to the Chamber Matters. I'm Radina Montgomery, the Public and Membership Coordinator at the Chamber of Commerce. On this edition of the show, we're going to take a look at some of the roles that not-for-profits play in our community. It's a little unknown fact that the Chamber of Commerce actually is a not-for-profit organization, and we operate to help businesses prosper and grow. Not-for-profit organizations, they lead our community to a better quality of life. They help to provide shelter for homelessness and support for women and children. They provide connections for businesses and provide programs and services for people on a daily basis. On this edition of the show, we're going to explore about 5 different not-for-profit organizations in our community. And our first guest today is Trish Kechie from the Dufferin Child and Family Services. Thank you for joining us today, Trish.
You're welcome.
You know, the not-for-profit sector, that's the thing. A lot of people don't really understand what they do, or
Yes.
And some of them have been around forever. I know your agency has been here for a very long time. Can we talk a little bit about that, the history of the agency and what it is that you do?
Sure. Our agency was originally incorporated in 1934 as the Children's Aid Society of the County of Dufferin. But since that time, we have expanded what we do considerably beyond child protection. And in about 25 years ago, at least, probably a bit more than that, we started incorporating other services under our umbrella. And so the name gradually had to change from the Children's Aid Society of the County of Dufferin. I think there was an interim name some time ago, and now it's called Dufferin Child and Family Services, because what we do is very broad. And we, in addition to child protection, which certainly is an important part of what we do, we offer child and youth mental health, and we offer supports to both children and adults with a developmental disability. So we're one of the very few agencies in the province, actually, that has such a broad mandate, and so that is one of the things we want people to understand in this community, that we have that breadth of service. And unfortunately, try as we might, people still say, oh, you're the CAS. And we're very proud to be the CAS, but we do so much more than that as well, and support families in lots of different ways.
And I was just going to say that must be one of the challenges, changing your name and rebranding yourself, and and even being here since 1934. I mean, you think people would know, but
You'd think.
But what's interesting too, I found, you know, I'm working on this show, and by the end of the show, I think people will see that some of the agencies are very intertwined, because you talk about the different programs you run, but there's other agencies that do similar programs. So obviously, you work together.
We do. We definitely do. I think all the others that you have listed there are certainly community partners with us, and in this day and age, it's critical to make sure you're providing what families need.
So take me, you know, on a little trip here, a little journey. Just briefly tell me some of the programs that you do provide to our community.
Okay. Well, I would start by saying, overall, our purpose is always, regardless of which door you come through, which program you're involved with, is to support and build on the strengths of families. That's our overall mission, and we take that very seriously. In child protection, it's a very mandated service, but the range of things we do, certainly we do investigations. Lots and lots of people call in, and through our intake process, people are directed to the right service that they need. And sometimes they call in with a child protection concern, but actually it turns out to be something different than that. So our people can help to make sure you get what you need. So we do child protection investigations. We provide in child protection a lot of support in families' homes. About 90% of our business is actually in families' homes. We do have some children in care, but it's a much smaller percentage of the work that we do. We, of course, have foster parents that we support and work closely with, and we do adoptions, which I understand lots of families don't realize that our agency does adoptions. So that's child protection. In children's mental health, we have really 2 main ways to access those services. One is through our talk-in clinic, which I think is becoming quite well known finally in the community, which is great. And that's every Tuesday afternoon and evening, and people can simply walk in and get an appointment with a clinician. That's our main gateway to service. The other is through our crisis line, and that obviously is, as it sounds, to be used when people are in a serious crisis situation, and we can help them get to the hospital if that's what they need or whatever. But in addition, in children's mental health, we have, in addition to just child and family counseling, we have a specialized sexual assault program. We have, every Thursday evening, we provide a sort of a support group for LGBT youth, which has been really important in our community. Very proud of that. We offer, every quarter, we offer a workshop series called Positive Parenting from Two Homes for separated and divorced families, and that's been very well received in this community as well, a real need. We also have the Headwaters Family Visit Center in our agency, which is funded actually by the Attorney General and is for supervised access visits for families. So that kind of covers children's mental health in very broadly, quickly.
A lot of positive programs there,
too,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah, we work really closely with the schools in all our programs, but certainly in our children's mental health program. We have staff whose job is to very closely connect with the schools and make sure everybody's on the same page and planning for kids. And then quickly in developmental support services, we have what we call service coordinators for both children and adults, which is to help people navigate the systems that can be kind of complex out there, make sure they're getting the services that they qualify for and that they need. We also have a program called the Infant and Child Development Program, and that's for kids up to age 6 where there's some sense that where there's an obvious risk or an obvious issue or a risk of an issue that's going to impact on their healthy development. And we have early childhood specialists who work together. And we also have a program, a parent respite program on every other Saturday morning, Saturday, all day long, for parents with children who are medically fragile or technologically dependent. Kind of a long name, but these are kids who mostly are at home, and the parents really need some time off.
You have a lot of great programs and very connected to the community, providing the community with a lot of access. If we can just step back a little bit, you were talking about kids' mental health, and recently Clara Hughes was here, which is huge. She's like a 6-time Olympian. So how do you get somebody like a Clara Hughes to come to Orangeville, and talk a little bit about that Allies for Kids Mental Health program?
That's a grant that we applied for from the provincial government, and it was the grant is to help us to reach out to those leaders in the community who are working with kids all the time, but who don't have, expertise or specific knowledge around child and youth mental health, and it's to help them to brownie leaders, coaches, counselors, the Boys and Girls Clubs and those kinds of people who are intimately involved with kids, who are so important in kids' lives, and who may be some of the first people to sort of think something might be a little wrong. So it's to help them to know what the signs and symptoms might be to look for, where to go to get further help when they think that that's required, how to talk to parents about their concerns about a child that they're involved with. So we're really excited about that. We've already got several workshops planned. People can call our agency to, if they feel that their organization could benefit from that. And a wide range of topics we can deal with that tailored to, if you're dealing with older youth, you may want more of a focus on drug use or addictions and that sort of thing. So we can be very flexible in the service or the workshop that we pull together.
It's a great way to help educate volunteers, because sometimes volunteers just, that's not their expertise.
Absolutely.
So where do they turn to?
Absolutely. And yet we know how important they are in kids' lives. And we work with the schools in that way as well, to provide workshops and a more thorough understanding of mental health issues. And so having Clara was our launch for that program, and we were thrilled. I think we were surprised that we got her here, but it just all worked out. She was in Toronto, and she came up, and she loved Orangeville, and she's blogged on her blog about how much she enjoyed being here. So
very inspirational. I don't think there was a dry eye in that room. And some of the kids that came forward to share their stories in that setting, I just remember I was sitting there, and I'm trying not to cry, but it's very hard sometimes, because it's amazing that people have that courage to stand up and talk about, some of their issues, and especially somebody like her, because we see her as a strong athlete, winning gold medals and bronze medals, but yet she's saying, you know what, I am strong, but I struggle with mental health. And so I think that helps people to realize that it can happen to anybody, and you're not alone.
No, and I love the way she said it's who I am. It's part of me. It's not like, it'll go away and I'll never have to worry about that again. It was, I loved the way she presented that. Yeah. It's
more real, down to earth. Now, just quickly, because we're going to run out of time here, just talk a little bit about, if somebody's interested in volunteering, do you take volunteers with your agencies?
We do.
How does that work? What do they have to do?
They need to call the agency, and they can ask for Jacqueline Moore, or just say they want to be a volunteer. Certainly our reception know who to forward them to. And there is a bit of a process, as there is, I think, in any agency. But we thoroughly love having volunteers. We have a couple of programs where we use them in a very important role, and many other ways. We need volunteer drivers all the time.
Oh, wow.
And we do cover their mileage.
Oh, that's great. And it's great to volunteer. You feel like you're being part of something. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information with us. Very, very important. And we're going to take a short break here on the Chamber Matters, but when we return, we're going to find out about some children who are inspired by art. So don't go away.